Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Saturday Bhagavad Gita class. We are on the last section of chapter 3, that is Karma Yoga. And Krishna has spoken about why Arjun should still do uh, Karma Yoga rather than doing Jnana Yoga, because so that he can set the example in front of the society that though he is ready for everything, but he still is doing the Karma Yoga. So he is doing his prescribed duty. At the same time, he is standing there as a leader to show this this as an example. Yeah. So we have done till verse 39. Just to recap, we will do 39 again. I will chant and you may follow. Avritam jnanametena
आवृतं ज्ञाननम् एत्ना
jnanino nityavairina
ज्ञानिनो नित्यवरिणा
kamarupena kaunteya
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय
dushpurenanalena cha.
दुष्पुरेण
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. So, we spoke about the lust. Lust can be in any manner. Lust does not mean only the sex desire. Lust can be in the form of uh, desire for having a very good house, the beautiful furniture, the beautiful this, beautiful that, all those things which are required for your sense gratification. So, sense gratification can be of various types, and various people have various ways to gratify their senses, and this is one of the way that they can gratify their senses. So what covers is described here is it covers jnanam, that is knowledge of soul. Who is knower? It is eternal enemy. Why it is? Because it is such an enemy which goes lifetime after lifetime. Because that becomes your swabhava. So once the swabhava is developed in that manner, so it will go with mind intelligence and false ego. So because that's where it goes along in the subtle body, and it follows your subtle body until the time you die. And when you die, you are dying with that into mind. So that intelligence, that false ego, that I am a very rich person, I am so and so, I am that. So that false ego follows us, that I am a very good teacher. I teach very good Bhagavad Gita. That also can be, one of the false egos people can carry. What we should have in the mind is Gopi Padeo par charakavalo das dasa anudasa. Right? I am only a dasa dasa anudasa to whom? To Gopi Padakavalo. So my position, if I it is not just by saying, that I become a dasa and I want to become a dasa just for the sake of saying so that I can make a very good impression on the audience. No, if it has to have a real meaning, it should come from the heart that yes, I am trying to do that. So jnanam, the knowledge of the soul, who is knower, should also have that feeling, the inside feeling of that. And most of the time, we don't come to know who is our enemy. People don't become angry on lust, but become angry on who is obstructing my lust. Right? So we don't even come to know that, oh, I am angry because of my lust. And that lust is obstructing by somebody. So, and my object of my anger is that obstruction. Obstruction is my anger. So we think our enemy are outside, but actually they are inside. So we need to purify ourselves inside out. So the strategies can be, so when enemy attacks us, it uses its force to conquer us. But lust uses our own force to destroy us. How is that? There is no force to do wrong things, but the person does wrong things oneself. For example, computer virus uses computer resources to destroy computer, isn't it? So here, indulgence with will aggravate the fire. Fire will not be extinguished. It will not be subdued. Is it that when within the dharmic arrangement of marriage, also lust can be aggravated, then what is the point of having grasthashram? If lust is always fueled by indulgence, then what is the point of grasthashram? The grasthashram is for people those who want to have um, fulfill their desire to have a wife, to fulfill their inner feeling of sense gratification. But once you join the Grastha ashram, then you are allowed to have the sex only for producing the Krishna conscious children, only for that purpose. It is not always overindulgence in sex. So that's where, now, how do we make that difference between the two is a $1 million question. So even if the devotees must be going through this battle in their mind कि तो बाद में सोचा जाएगा about the this thing, about the Shastra. Let me first enjoy at this point in time because I have the desire to enjoy this time. So this might come because it is the feeling which is coming. There is the inner desire because at that particular point in time we want that to happen. And that desire is so strong that anybody and everybody, even Tulsidas, if you see the example, he thought that uh, uh, a sarpa is a rope, and he's took the thought that he's a rope, and then he's went up, in the room of his wife. So it is that strong. So in order for us to control ourselves, it is the control that we need to develop very strongly. And for developing that strongly, that what we need to do is the practice of Krishna consciousness. And how that Krishna conscious practice is developed is what we need to understand from the Shastra. So in Grastha Ashram, it is not that indulgence brings purification, but it is the observance of dharma that brings purification. There is difference between Grihastha and Grihamedhi. We talked about this. The Grihamedhi is always interested in sense gratification. But for Grihastha, sense gratification is one part of life. But in the center of their life is dharma. And that dharma is Krishna consciousness or worshipping Krishna. So as criminals are shackled, similarly those who are criminals or disobedient to the laws of the Lord are shackled by sex life. Unless uh, instead of sex life, I may say there's lust, shackled by lust. So unless one thinks that his body, he cannot be indulged in lust and thinking his body is the cause of bondage. It is a bondage of misidentification. Further bondage increases when we act at the bodily level. So desires and the lust binds the soul to the body. That why it binds? Because I have that lusty desire. So to fulfill it, I need a body. So that is how the soul who doesn't want to serve Krishna is bound in bodily conception of life by having lusty desires. And in bodily conception of life, it will suffer more by birth, old age, disease, death, and threefold miseries, that is Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, Adhyatmika. And advancement of material civilization on the basis of sense gratification means increasing the duration of the material existence of a living entity. As in modern time, there is more option available to entangle himself in the lusty desires. In America, the amount of money made by porn industry is much more than football and any other, maybe the baseball industry or American football, So therefore, this lust is symbol of ignorance by which the living entity is kept within the material world. When one enjoys sense gratification, it may be that there is some feeling of happiness, but actually that so-called feeling of happiness is the ultimate enemy of the sense enjoyer. And as Srila Prabhupada said in his purport, if I remember correctly, there is some amount of happiness. Someone can say that no, there is a big happiness, as so many poets are written on this and movies are made on this, but actually this is a huge amount of exaggeration, as the capacity of body to enjoy is very limited. That is so-called enjoyment is ultimate enemy of a person because it traps the person into the lusty desires shackle. As mouse is trapped in mouse trap or the fish trapped by wet and the fish is pulled out and dragged, it is ultimately enemy of sense enjoyer. This is not just bad from the moral point of view, based on some outdated conception of morality or people in past have, though this is wrong and this is right. So it is obnoxious or considered obnoxious because it is noxious, poisonous. Lust is considered more poisonous than poison. There is a visha or poison, and there is vishaya, sense object. Wish destroys only after consumption by vishaya, but vishaya is destroyed just by contemplation. Contemplation. When someone contemplates of sense objects, senses are contaminated, get poisoned, or eventually it is destroyed. So wish is not as dangerous as vishayasya. Therefore, one must be extremely conscious. So-called feeling of happiness is the ultimate enemy of the enjoyer. Any question?
No, good.
So it's such a important subject matter, that how one can win over it. That is very important for everyone to understand.
Prabhuji, I was just reading the purport below the main purport line. There is a it is said in Manusmriti.
Yeah.
It refers to the Manusmriti. And there is a word for the material world which is called Maithunya Agar. Which is, for people who understand Sanskrit, is very, Maithunya Agar is yours, almost like a criminal who's behind the bars.
Yes, you're tight with the you are shackled.
Yes.
Because of those lusty desires, That is the point which I was trying to make.
Yes. Very
So
good
Maithunya
remembering.
Agar is like shackled by those by the big chains and you are shackled in that.
Yes.
So it is so dangerous.
Yes.
So unless you want to come out of it, you have to go. See, either you go to Mahamaya or you go to Yogamaya. You can't remain in between like that. कि मैं दोनों के बीच में यहाँ भी मजा कर रहा हूँ वही मजा कर रहा हूँ ऐसे नहीं चलता है.
Yes. No, thank you. Very good words, Prabhuji.
Thank you. All right. So we'll go to 40 now. So now Krishna describes enemy. The enemy covers our intelligence. So where is that enemy present now? We need to know that as well, right? So it comes to Indriya, basically. So now we'll talk about, Krishna talks about Indriya. Indriyani mano buddhir
Indriyani
इन्द्रियाणि
mano
मनोबुद्धिर्
buddhir
अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते
अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते
asyaadhisthanamuchyate
एतैर्विमोहायाति एष
एतैर्विमोहयति येषाम्
etarvimohayatyasya
ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
jnanamavritya
ज्ञानमावृत्य
dehinam.
देहिनम्
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. Yeah. I read it again. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. So this is a fact. Now we know that. So lust is situated in our own mind and our own senses and our own intelligence. Now, the point is, how do we overcome? So what does Krishna say about that? So lust is not situated in the female form. Lust is not situated in the female dress or no dress. Male may say a female and get provoked, but lust is not there in the female form. A baby may be touching some private part of female, but baby doesn't get agitated. That means lust is not there in female form. Lust is not present in the form, but lust is provoked through that form, but it is situated in our own body, mind, and senses. See, where is it sitting? It is actually sitting in the mind. And it forces us to think that way, and then the dirty thought starts coming in. If we look at other women as a mata, this is for the men. For the women, other men other than our husband, we look at as a brother or elder brother or something like that, or father, then those feelings should not come. However, this may not happen in a day like this. This takes time. This is with the practice that you can come to that realization one fine day. So, having said that, we can't blame others if we become lusty. Lust is there within us. So, there is a very sad phenomena called blaming and victimizing women. If a woman is violated, people say because she was dressed like that, or she went here and there, and so she was violated. So no matter how many women dresses, if a male has forcibly violated women, the responsibility is on male and not on women. The character of a woman doesn't matter. If someone dresses like that, it doesn't give us license to do bad. Lust is within us, and where? It's situated in the mind intelligence. The other perspective is the way we dress and the way we behave. It sends messages about us to other person. So the the point is that it has its presence both sides. So the way we dress ourselves, it may invoke the fire in others' mind. So why should we dress in a way that will perceive others to have the natural feeling of that lusty desire? And that is inevitable. If women are wearing provocative dresses, they are sending message that they wanted to be seen as sex objects. So women also should ask the question to themselves, is that the message I wanted to send out to people? If no, then I shouldn't dress like that. Why to blame other society, Within our own temple, we have seen people dressing like that. Very tight clothes. And the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they give smiles, and the way they give the looks, all these things can be shown or given as a signal to others that, oh, they want attention. Because see, everybody is an attention seeker in this world. Everyone wants attention. If you don't give attention, people will get mad. Everyone is attention seeker. And attention in a negative way or positive way. There is an attention behind that. Okay. So what we think as a negative can be positive for others. What we see positive can be negative for others. But then how do we control it? All this is right there. The fundamental is this. Now, how do we work on that? The principle is there. So, here in 3.40, Krishna is also saying that lust is situated in intelligence. Normally, we think that intelligence will enable us to see and free us from lust. In many cases, lust takes over the intelligence, and after that, intelligence, instead of curbing lust, it uses to fulfill lust. So, I don't want to use that dirty word, but filth is on internet and intelligence. Instead of curbing lust, it uses to fulfill lust. So, filth is on internet and intelligence is required for this. It perpetuates illusion. Intelligence can also become perverted by lust, and this is very dangerous as the person is not impelled by whimsical passion but methodical means that comes in the person. For example, serial rapists. They make a plan how to catch and brutalize their victim. In our case, also, when we enjoy mentality, when we have the enjoying mentality, and we become too strong, and in that case also we wanted to maintain facade that I am a good devotee, but privately when we see that nobody is seeing me, that time it comes out, but then actually we wanted to do it to something is coming out in private. And if we are really a devotee, we know that Paramatma is sitting in the region of the heart. कितना भी छुपा लो उसको तो दिखता ही है. He's sitting there upadrashta anumanta. To show the people, we are creating a facade of wearing a very good, very nice dhoti, very nice kurta, putting a very nice tilak and chadar and all, and going to the temple. But in the heart of the heart, I have very dirty, lusty desires in my mind. Then on the face of it, I'm showing that I'm such a nice devotee. People will look at me and then say, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, like that. But there is a lusty desire inside me. जब कोई नहीं देख रहा तब मैं चुपके से देखता हूँ कि something like that. So to clean our mind, what is required to be done? The good thought, nice chanting, and the practice of chanting this clearly and continuously without giving a single gap in our chanting. If we commit to a certain number of rounds, then are we really doing that? And when you do that, that is the practice. With that practice, what happens? When we come in contact with the sense objects, the intelligence becomes corroded, and it will become more and more corroded. Contamination will become more. Is it right? If we don't do the practice, it will get corroded more and more. So our practice of Krishna consciousness should be stronger as we go ahead. Just by going to the temple, just by meeting with the devotee, it's a good practice. However, how much are we able to imbibe the qualities of the acharyas is more important. And Srila Prabhupada in his purport has mentioned, I think, Yasyatma Buddhi Kunapetri Dhatu ke Swadhika Kalat Tathishu Bhaumajjati Yatirtha Buddhi Saridena Karishitya Nase Abhinasi Sava Ektarana. तो यस्यात्म बुद्धि कुंडत्रिपि धातु के all these qualities, they are very much there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. You read 10th canto, 84th chapter, 13th verse. यस्यात्म बुद्धि गुणत्रयीपि धातु के सुधीक कलादिषु भौम इज्जति यत्तीर्थ बुद्धि सलिले न कर्चिति नासिवे अभिज्ञातेषु स एव गोखरः स एव गोखरः. A human being who identifies this body made of three elements with his self, who considers the byproducts of the body to be by his kinsman, who considers the land of birth worshipable, and who goes to the place of pilgrimage simply to take a bath rather than meet men of transcendental knowledge there, is to be considered like an ass or a cow. It's such an important, I mean, such a bold verse it can be. Nothing can be bolder than this. But जो अपने आप खुद में रहते हैं ना, so they are like these people. So they are considered to be people like ass and donkeys and like that. Okay. So question might come to our mind, like someone may think above mentioned verse is irrelevant in this section. Why is cow is also quoted here or in some other verses, as cow is one Krishna likes very much, and is very gentle and loving. So the answer to that could be that although the cow is like that in this material world, she can be put under illusion and she is in subhuman body. For example, cow doesn't give milk herself. A calf is brought to milk cow, or sometime a calf-like toy is brought, and when cow sees the calf, it starts releasing milk. And then people removes cow and milks the cow for their own purpose. So that's a stealing actually. It is bringing the cow into an illusion and then taking the milk out of cow. So these are the practices which are happening in this world. So these are like, the external objects which are used for the sense gratification. I don't want to name them. We all know. So in the first question which I said, that was someone may think about that in the verse that why it is relevant to us, So such a person who is in animal consciousness. So in this verse, a person is not indulging in any lusty things, but when buddhi is contaminated, this type of things may come up. We think about lust when people do immoral, brutal activities, but from Bhagavatam perspective, even if a person engages in material goodness and he thinks this is all about, then that person intelligence is considered to be equal to cow or ass. We have our own farm in Melbourne where we are having some cows from where we are getting the milk. We are milking the cows and then MCD milk is coming to Sydney as well, right? It is in Melbourne, Sydney. Slowly we are going to start in Brisbane as well. So that milk is very expensive. But we know how difficult it is to have the cows, feeding them when we are not having business. There is no rain happening in Melbourne during that time. It was so hard to feed the cows. And I started collecting donation for that. And people are not very ready to pay. But for such causes, people do come forward. But then they want something in return, you know. मैंने donation तो दे दिया, दूध कब दोगे मेरे को? Like, but you know, you have to wait for some time, because once the cow is pregnant, then only once the delivery happens between 8 to 9 months time. I mean, normally 9 to 10 months delivery time लगता है. So then the calf comes, and then once the calf is there, then the milk comes like 25 liters and 30 liters like that. And these cows are so good. I mean, we don't give them any injection, no any material to eat. They're only grass-fed cows. अब उनको अच्छा गुड़ देते हैं खाने के लिए, because जो गुड़ गाय ने खाना चाहिए, the jaggery which is given to the cow along with the भूसा, भूसे के अंदर वो डालते हैं. आपने कभी देखा होगा, मुझे मालूम नहीं, जब उसको बोलते हैं सानी करना गाय की, तो सानी जब करते हैं गाय की, so that time we prepare that food for her and then we feed her. उसको बोलते हैं सानी करना. And at the same time, the udder of the cow also to be massaged on a daily basis, so that, you know, she is ready for giving the milk to the calf. Okay, so like that. So calf is brought near the cow, and so that her udder is full of milk that time, because when she sees her calf full of milk, so what we do is first we take the milk out, and then remaining milk calf has, because उसको बहुत ज्यादा दूध दे देंगे तो वो बीमार हो जाएगा. That's why he is given at the last, because that milk is so much that if he drinks it, then he may go sick, and he will go sick. Not may, he will go sick. Yeah. So these are the things that, you know, we have to be very considerate of. Yeah. Shall we go to the next verse? Any question? Welcome, Renuka. Yes, Rishi.
No question, Prabhuji. All good.
Okay, wonderful. All right, 41. Tasmat swamindriyanyadau
तस्मात् त्वम् इन्द्रियाण्यादौ
niyamya bharatarshibha
Niyamya
नियम्य
Bharatarshava
भरतर्षभ
Bharatashava
papmanna prajahimyenam
Papmanam
पाप्मानं
Papmanam
प्रजहिह्येनं
Prajahinam
jnana vijnana nashanam.
Jnana Vijnana
ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्.
Nashanam.
Translated by Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, O Arjun, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of sin, that is lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So, I'm considering that you all will read the purport if you are not read. So in the previous verse, what we read was, it is mentioned where lust is situated and how lust acts. So lust acts by covering our intelligence, and lust is situated in mind, where the senses and intelligence are also being controlled. Our intelligence is situated, so intelligence and mind both are controlling our senses. So therefore, now you know where the enemy is and what is his strategy. And now to conquer it, how to conquer it? By Indriyani Adau. Begin with the intelligence. Niyamya Bharatarshabha. Regulate it. The word Arshabha means bull who is strongest among domestic animals. Bull is very strong. Bharata Arshabha. Arshabha means the bull. So in today's society, Heroism is shown by lusty gratification. See, they show their body, so like very, very big muscles and this and that. It is for what? Just to show the heroism? It is one side of heroism. The other side of heroism, they lift so much weight and show their biceps and triceps and what all. So heroism is to protect yourself and others from lust, actually. Others by setting up an example. So Arjun has refused a proposal of Urvashi when Urvashi danced because he was teaching her the dance. During exile, he was a dance teacher for her. And somehow Urvashi knew that he is none other than some big, prince. So that's why she wanted to, offer him to him, offer herself to him. So that was a story behind. So these sense gratification can drag a sane person to become villain also. If Arjun didn't have the control or his senses, what could have happened? The whole story would have changed. So, and if we think that we can come to a consensus, so consensus cannot be used to decide what is right or what is wrong. Only scripture can decide it. So, the lusty desire can destroy what all things? Jnana and Vijnana both. What is Jnana? Jnana is the theory, and Vijnana is the application of that knowledge. Right? So theory that whatever we read is the jnana and a vijnana is of its application. So when we forget that I am not body, but I am the spirit soul. So in that way, what happens? The urge for self-realization is also lost. So when lust attacks us, we don't want to do anything. And that destroys everything for us. It destroys our chanting, remembering Krishna. It is also, we just want to enjoy, and enjoy. We don't want to do anything else during that time. So it destroys our spiritual knowledge and it destroys inclination towards spiritual knowledge. So that is why when people have too much sense enjoyment available, then they don't feel impetus for spirituality. So having or accepting some sort of difficulty in our life, so having fighting spirit helping us to remember Krishna is not comfortable during that situation. So what is important over there? Because having those desires and complete and not curbing the urges is preventing us becoming willing to capture. So those who are thinking that I'm happy here, but what is the need of not doing this? At this point, so the enjoyment available at present is not going to be available forever. It may be over very, very soon. So let me enjoy this. I can come back to Krishna consciousness later on. But let me have this enjoyment. So our mind and intelligence can get cloudy during that time. So we have to be very, very sure in the devotee life that we are always reminded of not going into that direction, which will be lost. That is, jnana and vijnana both are getting, both are going waste. So we should be reminded of, and what can remind you? the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, going to the temple, remaining with the sadhu-like people, and remaining with the devotees, reading the Shastra, having the uh, you know association of good people. Go to the next verse. Indriyani paranyahur
Indriyani
Indriyani
paranyahur
indriyebhya param manah
Indriyebhyo param mano
manastu para buddhiryo
Manastu
Manastu
para
para
buddhiryo
buddhiryo
buddhe paratastu saha.
Buddhe
buddheha
paratastaha
paratastu saha.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And the soul is even higher than the intelligence. Why it is so? So when the soul comes to a body, what does it have? It has nothing, right?
Nothing.
It has not been developed. It might have some impression of the last life, of the intelligence and the false ego. It might, but unless it is developed, the mind is still not developed, because when the child is born, that time it is at a very infant stage. So mind has to be trained, right? So mind has to be trained. So given the jnana, and then comes to vijnana. So if you think this way, that super soul, then intelligence, then mind, then senses, and then sense objects. You have to see this. The order is like this: the super soul, then the soul, then intelligence, then mind, then senses, and then sense objects. So unless we come in touch with in touch with the sense objects, we will not develop the sense for those sense objects. Until then, we are okay. So the moment we come in the contact with the sense objects, then the senses become superior to sense object. So generally senses goes to sense object. A delicious food object in restaurant doesn't come automatically, but we need to go to it. But senses are connected to soul, so it has some energy. But sense objects are inert matter. What are the inert gases? Does anyone know? Have you heard of
Sorry.
inert
Argon,
gases?
neon,
Yes. Thank you. Okay. I thought, just wanted to wake you up. Okay. So the mind's energy is far greater than the senses. Mind rushes to so fast, and mind keeps of thinking about sense objects and dreaming about sense gratification far longer than the senses. So when we are sick and we have a six senses, then we cannot enjoy anything. But still, mind is dreaming about sense object. Mind is still having desire. Even a person is in dream, senses are not acting, but mind is dreaming, fantasizing that time. So in that sense, mind it is superior to senses. Also, mind is center point where all the sensory input comes. And that's where it gets processed. So that's a kind of a CPU, central processing unit, where everything is coming and then getting processed. So above mind is intelligence, because it can control mind. And there are times when we wanted to do certain things, but we don't do because intelligence controls the mind. For example, shouting back at the boss. So we control ourselves. Isn't it? Because intelligence रोक लेता है कि नहीं नहीं अभी मैं चिल्लाना मर जाओगे जॉब चला जाएगा. right? So we have to, so intelligence becomes the main thing, So having said that, so this doesn't mean that this is the way in which hierarchy will work, but hierarchy is there. So our reins are made of uh, to control the horses, right? And it also controls, but certain time ours will be so much turbulent that reins will not be able to control it. The charioteer, that is us or the soul, may also be knocked off. Above intelligence is soul. Unless soul gives consciousness, nothing will happen. Right? So the consciousness that is developed, as we know that the animals live with the instinct, we live with the desire, consciousness. Though we have the desire, animal also has a desire. And we also have desire. They live with instinct. उनका कॉन्शियसनेस इतना डेवलप नहीं होता है, हमारा कॉन्शियसनेस डेवलप्ड है. So what we do is our controlling thing is in the intelligence. So intelligence will tell you that no, don't do it now. Wait. Or not at all, don't do it. Control yourself, control your tongue. Don't eat this, don't eat that. Because you have diabetes, so don't eat this. मीठा खाने से डायबिटीज नहीं होता है. डायबिटीज वाले ने मीठा नहीं खाना चाहिए, तो वो इंक्रीज होगा. लोग बोलते हैं ना बहुत मीठा मत खाओ डायबिटीज हो जाएगा. नहीं, ऐसे नहीं होता है. बहुत टेंशन मत रखो, डायबिटीज हो जाएगा. So, um, so we work with that hierarchy, and what we do is now, finally, that we want to work in a manner that will create a sense of control on our mind, and a mechanism will develop for the whole body, that the mind, body, soul, there is a downward pull which pulls senses down. If we will let our mind go, while it will go toward the sense objects, then we will also fall in the sense gratification. Therefore, there has to be something which will stop it, and that the first step, Krishna says, is regulation. Regulate the senses. Unless senses are regulated to some basic level, one may not be able to think of anything higher. If senses are not regulated and one is indiscriminately thinking about sense gratification, then one will not be able to think seriously about spiritual truth, because lust is jnana vijnana nashanam. So first step is to regulate senses, but that is not enough, as we will think that we are deprived of enjoyment. So at next level, Krishna says in next verse, to establish upward connection, param drishtva nivartate. Param drishtva nivartate. So that's the last verse of this chapter. एवं बुद्धेः पुरं बुद्धा
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा
संस्थाभ्यात्मानमात्मना
संस्थाभ्यात्मानमात्मना
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो
कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
Translated by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind, intelligence. O mighty Aunt Arjun, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence. That is, as Prabhupada translates it, Krishna consciousness, and thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. So, basically, what Krishna is saying here is situate yourself on this path using your intelligence. There is soul, intelligence, and mind. But by your own intelligence, know yourself to be the soul, param buddha. Yes, I am feeling like enjoying at bodily level, but I am not the body. With intelligence, understand oneself to be spiritual, then situate the mind on the spiritual platform. How do we situate mind on the spiritual platform? That means think spiritual thoughts. Then one will go beyond pull of lust. Pull of lust is there as long as we think that we are body and we have to enjoy at material level. Best way to keep mind on spiritual platform is think about Krishna. Then we think about Krishna, we experience higher happiness, then we will conquer lust. Symbol of kama, lust is heart. And then there is an arrow within that, right? And that arrow is Pushpabana from Cupid. And who is the biggest Cupid? Shishakti.
You got it.
Lust.
Madana Mohana. Madana
Krishna.
is a Cupid, right? Madana is a Cupid. So Madana
Krishna is
Mohan,
the
that is Krishna, is the biggest Cupid. So when we get the Sambandha Jnana from Madana Mohan, that is the biggest Cupid. So that Sambandha is a last longing, you know. So that love, that lust to meet Madana Mohan as Krishna is the biggest love that one can have. And the deeper that love goes is depending on your practice of Krishna consciousness. And how much do you do that? With how much practice that you do it. See, it is not what happens. See, even if I say 1,000 times with very much, um, putting emphasis on the words, it will happen only when we realize ourselves that I know I need to do. Chanting in front of TV also people do it, just in order to complete the order of spiritual master. I have to complete 16 rounds, right? वो तो करना है कैसे भी करके करना है. But are we really putting our mind into that? Unless we are concentrating on Krishna's name and the word, there is no difference between Krishna and Krishna's name, Krishna and Krishna Prasadam, Krishna and Krishna's photo, like that. So when we start understanding in that way, then everything changes for us, isn't it? And it should change on a daily basis. So in that situation, what we have, when we think about Krishna, we experience higher happiness. Then we will conquer lust. So there is two connection between soul and supersoul. One is direct connection, which is at the level of preeti. That is the love. The soul is spontaneously connected to Krishna. If we are not hooked to something higher, we will be dragged down. And how we will be hooked to Krishna? We have bhakti. If we have bhakti, that is preeti, then naturally we are connected to Krishna. But when we don't have that, then we have to use buddhi. At sadhaka stage, we are all sadhakas, by the way. Here, we are all sadhakas, and our sadhya is Krishna, and sadhana is the practice that we do. So at sadhaka level, there is no spontaneous attraction to Krishna. So there should be continuous, conscious, or attentive cultivation of attraction to Krishna. Surely, we use our intelligence to connect to Krishna. So we should use our intelligence and mind to contemplate, I am not this body, I am the spirit soul. So my real happiness is in the service of Krishna. So this completes our discussion as far as Karma Yoga is concerned in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That is Karma Yoga. So we'll be starting 4th chapter from next week. 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then we'll start Nectar of Instruction and Ishopanishad. And then we will have exams. So please make sure that your attendance is 75% in the classes. Those who don't have that percentage, I will probably draw the Excel sheet and show it to everyone that how are you going to make it. That we'll have to see how we can make it, because yours will be the first batch from VTA who will be doing the Bhakti Shastri under me. So please assist me in getting that done. So this finishes the 3rd chapter. Please read through. Hope you have taken the notes. Read the translations. Read the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Listen to the lectures that I have given so far. If you don't like my lectures, listen to somebody else's lecture. Like devotees like His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj, he has given very good lectures on 3rd chapter. Even Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, my spiritual Shiksha Guru, he also has given wonderful lectures on this. So please listen to them, prepare yourself, because Jnana and Vijnana is very, very important. Unless we practice that, it is not going to happen soon. Yeah. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai, Upasthita
Shri
Gaura
Krishna Prabhu ji ki jai.
ki jai. Hare Krishna,